Why, what an excellent question. In fact, it began back in ancient China, where people were tested on Confucian philosophy. As in many cases, the Chinese know what they're doing. Now, we can also look to World War I era history, where people were tested for IQ and stuff, you know?
As yesterday's positive report card shows, children do learn when standards are high and results are measured. The question asked, how is our children learning?
Yeah, definitely. All my teachers say, I wish I could teach you this, but we have to cover the curriculum, and the guidelines set in place by standardized testing really limits teachers, and if they were free to teach whatever they wanted, I think they'd be a lot happier teaching students.
Well, now teachers have to teach to a specific test. So it's no longer about learning the actual material, it's only about passing the NJASC or whatever. Good thing for standardized testing. We all know that learning for the sake of learning is a load of crap. So now kids can focus purely on grades. Oh, and the best part is that school curriculum gets streamlined. In fact, in 2007, the Center of Education Policy said that schools had cut the amount of time spent on science, the arts, and social per week so that they could focus on math and reading because those are the subjects that are on statewide tests and the SAT. Isn't that genius? We all know that subjects like science mean little to nothing, so why waste school time on them?
The stress is terrible, and it's not helping me heal. The college word is the reason I am who I am today.
You know, my first standardized test was a defining moment in my life. Probably even more important than the day I got married or the day I got my license. Standardized testing is absolutely great for kids in school. It puts lots of stress on them, and as numerous philosophers like Kanye West have said, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. They say that education is everything. So why not put our kids under as much stress as possible every day? Stress totally has a positive impact on kids who are emotionally fragile and nervous. As a matter of fact, the Stanford 9 exam in California comes with instructions on what to do if a student vomits on the test papers, because it happens that frequently. Teachers have to shift to drills and very shallow surface level teaching, and they put all those lame creativity exercises to the side. As a matter of fact, schools in New York and Michigan taught their students the Pythagorean theorem, but 2/3 of 8th grade students were unable to calculate distance using the Pythagorean theorem because they couldn't understand the material in a broader context. But who cares? It doesn't matter whether kids these days are able to improvise and apply their knowledge in a changing world. Pish posh. We caught up with a couple of leading experts in the field at a National Association for Educational Progress conference. They're discussing what to be done about our system's standardized testing obsession. Clearly, the effects of standardized testing are great. Stress on students. Teachers can't teach what they want. Narrowing of curriculum. And all at a lovely price. But there's always room for improvement. What do you say about it, Hirschdog? Well, I think the system needs improvement as well, Mr. Jones. The question is, how should we change this system? Educational research experts are still debating this. Well, I propose we add more standardized tests to our system. Children's progress tends to fluctuate a lot. Having a statewide test once every 2 years ain't gonna cut it. We have to track their progress over time. Maybe having one every month would be reasonable. It would make the testing much more commonplace and induce stress at more regular intervals. The Brown Center on Education Policy did find that in 2012, standardized testing cost states a combined $1.7 billion. Just think of how much it'll cost the states if we make testing more frequent. Given the current state of the economy, we need to be making responsible financial decisions like this one. Not only do we need to discuss those statewide tests, we should also talk about the College Board. Most colleges need those SAT test scores in order to assess student capabilities. In fact, I would argue that maybe colleges should eliminate subjective measures from applications altogether and focus purely on test scores, because test scores measure student performance so accurately.
Actually, it's been proven that standardized test scores often have fluctuations that aren't related to student learning at all. And if I may interject, I think that perhaps we should focus less on standardized testing. That way, students can start to teach material in a way that they genuinely enjoy. Just kidding, teachers can start to teach material in a way they genuinely enjoy. And students can learn in a way they enjoy. And they can also learn material in broader contexts, rather than simply for the sake of scoring higher than the statewide average. If Finland is measuring students with only one test and getting through high school just fine, with a high graduation rate, maybe we should do that too.
Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. You know, I went to Harvard and you went to Yale, Big Bird, so I understand why you have these stupid suggestions. You must be tripping. Are there any other weird ideas you want to add to this conversation?
Well, as a matter of fact, yes. I was going to suggest that we also put less emphasis on standardized tests in classes. Schools should focus on teaching subjects to their full potential, and not waste a ton of time on practicing test-taking strategies. This hinders the ability to further the curriculum. In schools where students tend to score poorly, like in poor areas, maybe teachers can put a little more emphasis on test prep, or they can assign homework like graded practice tests. But there is no reason for students to sacrifice valuable class time for subjects like AP Gov and Econ just so they can focus on detecting trick questions and filling in bubbles darkly and completely. Also, if we put less emphasis on testing, then maybe people will realize that tests like the High School Proficiency Assessment or the SAT do not make or break students' lives. Many people are bad at testing but wonderful at other things, and we want to nurture student development on all levels. When push comes to shove, the SAT and other tests like that only measure a small degree of people's performance.
Huh. Hilarious.